everybody. I'm Stacey J.
And I'm Chuck Duran.
Welcome to part 2 with the amazing Camille Dixon and Bill Rogers. Are you ready for some more magic?
Yes, they are, and so am I, so let's go.
Do it.
Okay, so I want to hit on this real quickly because you guys, you can take some tissue out for this little next segment here because it touched my heart. Now, I'm such a true believer of destiny.
Yeah.
And not only creating your destiny and some of the things that you do leading up to that big payoff, but can you please, both of you, share the story of how you actually became the park announcer for Disneyland and California Adventure?
You bet. You go first.
This is one I will go first because it happened a very long time ago.
Yeah.
By the way,
when did
for
it
those
happen?
of you,
Was
for
it like
those of you who are
1991?
1991.
Yeah.
This is year number 23.
Wow, 23
Wow.
years.
23 years.
Jill.
Yeah. Nice gig.
Yes.
I thought I
very
was
nice.
fancy pants over here with 9 years.
Yeah, some long in the tooth going on here, but nonetheless. When I first moved here in 1986, two things happened. I came from the beautiful city of Pittsburgh. First and foremost, I remembered my youth, and I came out here a lot when I was a kid, and I went back to Disneyland and I would spend an hour to 3 hours a week just listening to the guy who did those wonderful ticket booth spiels, and then I'd go into the park and I'd listen to him announce the various and sundry things. That guy was a fellow by the name of Jack Wagner, and he was amazing. Fast forward to getting one of my first gigs with a very nice little video production company in Garden Grove. And I did the same thing that we were just talking about a little while ago. Do as much as you can for some of those people who are coming up and do and one day the lady she and her husband owned the video production company, she said to me, one of these days I'm going to be able to do something as nice for you as you have done for us.
Wow.
She called me one day. And she
How many years was this one day later?
This one day later was about 4.5, 5 years.
4.5, 5 years later.
Yeah, something like that.
Very important. Take out the tissue.
Take out the tissue. She calls and she says, I've taken on a partner and he does nothing but audio. And I really would like you, because I know that you do a lot of your own stuff and you've got your own equipment, but this is all brand new digital equipment. And I want you to come over and take a look at it because it really is something special. And I said, okay, I'll be over. So I'm over. I get the tour, and it really is something special. This is in the days when Roland was still the number one producer of digital audio equipment, and he had amazing stuff. The point is that he looked at me and he says, I understand you know Jack Wagner. And I said, no, I have never met the man. But I'll tell you this much, he is my hero. He is the man who is able to combine all of the things that work so beautifully to make just these marvelous announcements. And Disneyland is so much the better because he's there. He says, I want you to read this. And he hands me what we call the lights out announcement for the Main Street Electrical Parade. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the lights around Disneyland will soon be dimmed so that you can fully experience all the majesty and wonder of the Main Street Electrical Parade. He says, go on in there and read that. I went into the booth, did one take. He says, do it this way, do it this way. Did another take. He says, come on out. And I said, okay.
This guy's pushing.
All right.
I get out. He says, I want you to know, I don't make the final decision, but by Thursday, you'll know you're the new voice of Disneyland. Jack Wagner has retired. I walked out the door.
You
banging.
glided.
I was that far off the floor, and the lady who had called me was sitting out in the front office, and she says, well, did you get it? Yes.
Unbelievable.
That's how that happens.
That's incredible. That is it's probably one of the coolest stories I've ever heard. Man.
Yeah, and it's such a great gift on so many levels to have remembered him and to know his talents and to keep that in mind. And then to do it in those circumstances is really amazing too, because it was no pressure. You know, not that he wouldn't have done well in a pressure situation to know, I got this big audition.
Right, but if they had said, listen,
Yeah.
Jack's retiring, I want you to, but I mean, you
If you know that you're coming
channeled
in to
what you had
audition for
been-
that.
Yeah.
You had been preparing for that moment for
Yeah,
years
that's it.
and years.
Yeah.
That was it. And it was Jack who guided me there. And in
that's
fact,
beautiful.
one of the things that when people ask, how do you go about creating a character?
Yeah.
I said, the first thing you got to do is you got to give it a name because there's got to be a backstory.
Yeah.
Well, the character that reads those announces at Disneyland is Jack. That's my name for him. He's a character.
Yeah.
And it makes it so easy because Jack Wagner already created this wonderful backstory for
Yeah.
me. And
Yeah.
it's amazing.
That's beautiful.
And then there's my beautiful wife.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
The wonderful
Yes.
Camille Dixon, ladies and
Yes.
gentlemen.
Yes.
I like to say I was sleeping with the right guy. No, just kidding. The thing
And
is,
that's how you do it, kids.
And that's how you do it.
Exactly.
It's not who you know.
It's
it's who you
You had me,
know.
Camille, and then you lost me.
that's it.
Stay in school. Okay.
That's right. No, the thing that's so cool is that Bill provided the opportunity for me to audition for some things, and so I did some small things like the voice of the siren at Electronica at California Adventure, and they needed a female voice to accompany Bill for the food and wine festival that they used to have at California Adventure. So they already knew who I was and all of that. So he had begun doing the work for California Adventure. So we're hearing him in both parks, and it's this, this classic Disney voice, and it's just amazing. And so, anytime there's something new, they have a live event at the park, and he's usually there doing the announcements live. So when they were about to open Buena Vista Street in Cars Land, he had it on the calendar. He hadn't heard from anybody yet, like what time he needed to be there and when and where and all that stuff. But he gets a call, and
We're in the car driving. Yes.
I'm driving.
Yep.
He's on his phone in the passenger seat, and the person on the phone says, "Hey, Bill, you know how we're opening Buena Vista Street in Cars Land here in a couple of days?" I guess it was about a week. Yeah, I've got it on my calendar. When do you need me? Where do you need me? I'm here for you. I've got it blocked out. And he says, what's Camille doing? So Bill says, well, let me put her on speakerphone. So he's holding the phone. I'm driving down the freeway and talking to this guy. And he says, we would love for you to come do our announcements. And so pretty much all of a sudden, in one phone call, he is replaced and he is now my assistant.
Nice.
Yes.
And he has been the best champion. I mean, there's not very many men who could handle, first of all, being replaced by a chick.
Yeah, right.
It's not, but the thing is, we feel like we're a team, and we market ourselves as a
Yeah.
team,
Yeah.
and it's all in the family.
Yeah.
So it's
That
great,
is
and he's
so
been a
cool.
terrific
You
supporter.
were happy, right?
Yeah.
Oh, he was
just
actually- he was
ecstatic for
overjoyed.
her.
Well, if you're
Just
going to get passed
ecstatic.
on, I mean, come on.
Yeah,
it's
come
great.
on. Might as well have
Well, I
the
was
best
going
there
to
is.
ask you, Bill, okay, you're in your 23rd year and counting, my goodness. What is it that you still get joy about doing?
Okay. Wow.
The
What a
partners.
beautiful
Yeah.
intro to that. This story is the one that I tell when they say, how do you keep getting the energy to do these things? Because last year I did over 90,000 announcements.
Oh my God.
Wait a minute.
Just stop and process that.
Last year,
Last
90?
year.
you did over
90,000
90,000 announcements?
Yes. Yes.
Holy Toledo.
Yeah, most of them are, someplace between 10 and 15 words long. And,
Yeah.
there's,
Yeah.
somebody marching down the street. But this is the point about marching down the street. Because when I go into the park, when I get blue over something, things are just not quite going right. I go into the park on a hot summer afternoon, and I see her. She's sitting on the corner right there on Main Street. And she's got the I'm with the band t-shirt on. And she's sweating. I mean, she's hot. She's tired. This is the band mom. The band mom is the lady who schleps all of the sousaphones. She's the one who makes sure that the girls stay out of the boys' room and the boys stay out of the girls' room. And she's been herding cats all day long, and she's just had it up to here. And all of a sudden, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, your kid is about to march down Main Street, USA. And it's like somebody hit her with an electric shock. She's up on her feet. She's just ramrod straight, and she's giving it this shot as she sees her kids walking towards. And that's what keeps me going on this job, because I want that band mom to have every possible joy she can have.
It's pretty neat, right? Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't cry. You're going to make her cry for the first time ever on VO Buzz Weekly. Don't do it. It's okay, honey.
Well, no, it's beautiful. I mean, because I know I'm on the other coast.
I get it.
And when I get an email or a tweet or something,
Yeah.
and it's like somebody, or someone,
It really is magical.
Yeah.
It is.
It's
it is.
tangible.
It really is. That's
It's
beautiful.
called creating the magic,
Yeah.
and that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
I mean, we do a lot of other things. Read how to replace eyeballs, and I mean, the list is literally endless. You want to know how to change a Hyundai transmission? I can show you.
I can tell you.
I can tell you. Yeah. The interesting part of it, though, this is the magical part of what happens. And when you get a gig like this, the only thing you can do is treasure every moment of it.
Absolutely. Well, and it shows that you do.
Yeah.
And it shows in everything. It shows on how you talk about it. It shows on how you carry yourself about it. You're very, very, very respectful towards the actual job itself. And I got to tell you, we
And
love
it's
you.
just so beautiful that you're doing it with your best friend. You
gosh.
guys are a
Yeah.
team,
I
and I mean,
know,
it's
man.
so much fun for us.
It's so
You
Mickey
guys were
and Minnie.
made for each
It's
other.
Mickey and
We
Minnie.
think so.
You
think
really
so.
are.
think
We
so.
think
Yeah.
so. Yeah.
You've been living your way to each other
Yep.
to get
That's it.
here.
Wow.
This is
Yep,
beautiful.
as the song says, follow the broken road
Yes.
Yeah.
to each other.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have a little example of these beautiful people in action, so let's take a look and a listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, from colleges and universities across the United States, please welcome the Disneyland Resort 2014 All-American College Band, presented by Yamaha, under the direction of Dr. Ron McCurdy from the University of Southern California.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, in 1923, Walt Disney arrived in California to follow his dreams. Dreams which led to extraordinary achievements and wondrous adventures. Adventures where natural majesties, bustling communities, and groundbreaking discoveries would all find a place in his heart. Today, we invite you to explore your dreams as you experience your very own California adventure. Welcome.
Now that is what they do all the time. Don't you want that gig? First of all, I could never
Everybody
have that gig
wants
because
that gig.
you guys were made for that
Yeah.
job.
Thank
and
you.
to get
Thank you.
it's
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah.
What an amazing situation.
And it's so fun because now when people go to the parks, you guys can. How can people keep up with you? Are you guys?
Well, we're both on Facebook.
Yep.
We both have websites: CamilleDixon.com, BillRogers.la, and when we originally designed the websites, we put a blog space in.
Yeah.
We've written like one blog each.
Yeah.
We need to get up earlier.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just
But that's
something like
okay.
that.
That's okay.
That's okay. You
The
know,
good news is when you guys go to the parks now, when you're gonna, I guarantee you're going to be
Absolutely.
much more aware of it than
Yes.
you if you weren't before. And so now you can put the face to the voice and
Yep.
reach out to them, tweet them, Facebook them, and say,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, do.
you know,
Yes.
you're
Oh,
awesome
please do.
because
Yes.
it's wonderful.
Yeah,
I
please.
think because a lot of times we're so bombarded with the automated, but now you realize there is a human being putting emotion and storytelling, and maybe it is 10 or 15 words, but
Sure.
you are doing 90,000 stories, 30,000 stories,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
they are little baby stories.
I want you to know that one of the things that I will tell you when you tell me that you want to get into voiceover
I was just about to say this.
is
Watch VO Buzz Weekly.
That's it.
No, seriously, that's
That
the
was
first
unsolicited.
thing.
Wait, that was unsolicited. Cross my heart.
It was unsolicited,
It was.
but it's
Will
true.
you
I
come
mean,
back and say it every week?
that's
Yeah,
because
that-
people ask us every week, how
So
do I get
sweet.
started in
it's
voiceover? And that's the
very
first thing we
simple.
say. We say you're going to learn so much just by watching everyone in the business, because you guys have had everybody who's anybody in voiceover, and you're still counting. I mean, look, you even had us on, so
Holy
you know.
cow.
You guys
Yeah.
are, but this is
Yeah.
perfect. And maybe I think this is probably why it worked out because everything works out the way it should. But this is your episodes 125 and 126.
Wow, congratulations.
So
That
I
is
think it's a
amazing.
nice
Very cool.
milestone to celebrate
Yes,
with you
it
guys.
is.
Definitely.
Yes.
Well, and it's not
Thank
just
you
for
so
beginners
much.
either. I mean, we learn something
Oh, yes.
every time
Oh,
we
yes.
watch, because I
Every
think
time.
we all learn something from each other. Artists and
We do.
performers really need to share what they know, because that's
Without
good
doubt.
for all of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. You know, you got to know that there's somebody out there with you.
Yeah,
You know,
absolutely.
that you're not the only one who's
Yeah.
completely out of your mind.
Yeah, and
There
not
are
only
other
that,
Well, thank you very much. Your support means the world to us.
absolutely, it
and
really does. Thank
it
you
really
guys.
does.
I bet.
But everybody has a little bit of a different story. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And it's like Stacy and I are so lucky because we get to sit here and hear all you guys tell us about your life, you know,
Yeah.
and bring out your heart, because we like bringing out the heart. You know,
Yeah.
nothing's perfect here. And we go home when we do these shows and we're so inspired
and we just-
by you.
yeah.
You know, because
As
and
viewers,
hope
we
that
are
we
too.
inspire
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
Well,
Because-
because
by
it's
all
a
means.
universal thing, and what I love is when we get, I mean, we love our voiceover community all over the world, but I love when we get emails or comments from people who aren't in the business, don't aspire to be, but they say, you know
Sure.
what? When Bill and Camille were talking about that persistence and that passion, that's a universal human experience.
It is.
And so
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter
It is.
what your craft is, you
Yeah.
can find something in that that's going to inspire you or give you that little extra boost you need. And so that makes us feel really good that we know that we are crossing over a lot of different barriers.
Definitely.
It's not just a voiceover related.
Absolutely. And
topic.
that's something that resonates with us as well. And creativity is something that we're really interested in, and we'll just say very quickly, we're developing a half-hour weekly series on creativity for PBS.
Beautiful.
Because
Wonderful.
Yes.
we feel so strongly about that. You can be a performer, you can be a visual artist, you can be an accountant. It doesn't matter. Everyone has some creative aspect to their life
Yes.
and the way they get through the day and the way they make a difference in the world. And
Well, and we
so-
don't have to touch
Fabulous.
on it quickly. If you want to share, can you want to share more about? Let's talk about your current projects if you
that's-
want to.
This project is become all-consuming.
Yes.
Because in the first place, all of the sales skills that I touted earlier, all of those sales
Putting them
skills
to
are
use
going
now.
to be needed, because what we're doing, we're self-funding the pilot episode, and then we're going out to the business community at large, and asking for a sizable endowment for this show.
We're very fortunate because we're partnering with PBS SoCal. Actually,
Yes.
they asked us to create the series, and so it will air on PBS SoCal, and then they'll help us distribute it nationally. But you know, the way it works in public television, you go and you
Yes.
find the money, you get the show paid for first, and then you.
And will it go
That's
to the
it.
other PBS markets around
Yes.
the country?
It will.
That's
Yes, it
okay.
will.
That's
That's-
awesome.
that's
Well,
the
I'm
whole
a
idea.
fan. PBS is amazing.
Yeah, we're really
It's
excited
good
about this
programming.
show. We hope that it's going to be kind of like Sesame Street for adults. Very
Short subjects,
short
short
subjects,
features.
yeah, but things that
Engaging.
really make a difference. For instance, every show will have something that we dearly love. We've been talking about our wonderful friend Scott Rummell,
Yes.
his son Taylor.
Yes. Such a talent.
Who
Yes.
is just an amazing talent. Not only is he a wonderful filmmaker, he has got a sense of humor that will just
really does.
Yes.
leave
Yes,
you flat.
he does.
And he will be creating some of the first parts of every episode, because we're going to start out with a comedy piece based around the theme of that particular show. And Taylor will be involved in that.
So we feel that that's one of the best
Fantastic.
ways to
Yeah.
convey a subject is through
Absolutely.
humor.
Even if it's just a
Absolutely.
farmer's daughter joke. You know,
Yes.
I mean, but the
But
point
bump.
is, yeah, but I'm ching. And then the last part of every show will be called our rear view mirror segment. And rear view mirror will take a look back at what was there and what is there now as well.
Cultural icons that have created
Beautiful.
something that we all know and love today.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
This is
I
fantastic.
love it. Well,
influences.
when
I
you
can't
guys
wait
are
to
ready
see
to
the
let
show.
everyone know,
We
we
will.
got big mouth
Yeah,
over
in
you.
fact,
So,
when you're ready to let
Yes.
us know, because
yeah,
definitely.
we'll spread the
Very
word. That's
definitely.
fantastic.
We will, for sure.
Congratulations.
So
Well, we
thank
know,
you.
I mean, creating your, I mean, it's wonderful to do other people's work, but creating your own things from a kernel of an idea and
Yeah.
bringing it
Yeah.
Well,
to
and
fruition
that's-
is a really exciting thing. And
That's
it's
partly how that came about, because I 95% of what I do is voiceover, but then the other 5% is on camera hosting. And I wanted to get out there into the commercial world to host my own television show or host, somebody else's television show.
Yeah.
And let's face it, I look good for my age, but I'm too old. I'm too old and I don't have the look. I just don't. I'm a great girl next door kind of gal, and I'm comfy with what I am now. But
well, as a fellow host, you do You're fabulous. You have the look, but
yeah, honey.
But a lot of what is out there,
it's very different from what I am, and that's okay. I had to come to that realization.
Trust me, it's so okay.
It is. So I decided, okay, I need to create my own opportunity, and I think we can all learn from that.
Absolutely.
Whether it's, and you guys, I mean, you have your own show. You built this from the ground up. You know
when
how
you're
it's
putting
done.
out content, I know this is what we love, is that we're putting out content that is helping people, inspiring people. And so you have complete control over what is happening. And not from a maniacal, I'm in control, but just that there is, that every week, every day, there is this little beacon of hope and goodness that's going into the world, and it's on public broadcasting, which is an amazing thing that people need to support in their cities.
Please.
Public
She's going on the next pledge drive.
Yes, she is. Send your
Some
dollars.
of the best things I learned, I mean, growing up, and I watched those things, and I mean, the free gifts are great, but I mean,
Send your money
public
to us
broadcasting is
first.
amazing.
And then
Get Devil's the Rock, and then immediately, that's fine.
No, I'm just kidding.
Well, there is
But,
something to that. I hosted a panel for the Global Women's Conference in Orange County of women entrepreneurs, and it was an incredible experience to talk to these ladies who have started their own companies and have done some amazing things. Every single one of them wanted to do something so they could give back to society, and most of the questions from the women in the audience were about being able to give back. And one of the ladies on the panel was brave enough to say, get yourself healthy first. Focus on your business. Get it to where you're making money, you're doing well. Then you're going to have something to give, and you're going to make sure that your business is stable and you're not taking your time and attention and money away from what you need to do. So I would say the same thing. Been with PBS for now 27 years, but I'm going to say, get your voiceover career going or whatever it is that you're doing, and then you can afford to give and you can make a difference. So
absolutely. Let's talk a little bit about the other types of work that both of you do, because you do it in abundance. Because voiceover work is not all the frilly stuff that you hear on radio and television. There's some behind the scenes stuff going on where there's a lot of money to be made, and you guys are doing that. So
yes, we are.
Let's hear a little bit about that.
Well, first and foremost, the automotive world in Southern California and in several other places is a major funder of our lifestyle.
That's a good way of putting it.
We read a lot for all of the car companies. I mean, literally, I've done something for every car company on the planet, with the exception of Tesla. And that's coming.
Someday.
Now these are not just regular commercials.
These
are training programs.
These are usually
these are 10s and 20 and 30 pages and
pages of stuff to talk about service, to talk about sales, to talk about parts, for instance. You can't believe the number of shows that I've done just explaining to parts managers how it is they should keep their inventory up.
And training. If someone applies at a certain company, you're that voice that's walking them through. He's
pretty much the voice of ophthalmology for all of the major companies. And it's interesting because he started out with one, and another one said, oh, we want that guy, even though it's our competitor that's using him. And and none of them, they're all fine with that. It's okay. And then a third one came along and said,
is it an eye for an eye?
Yes.
Very good.
I got my eye on you. Keep that up.
Turn my mic off. Sennheiser driver.
You are so bad.
Come on, you thought it.
Yes.
So good.
The interesting part of this is that when you show up at ophthalmological conventions and things like that, it's like me and me and me, and then there's and then there's one other guy.
Well,
and then
notice
there's
ophthalmological just like rolled off his tongue. So
I know, you can say that really good.
Do lots of nurses training.
Yes, lots of nursing training for a wonderful company in Cyprus that releases about 200 titles a year, and I read probably 70% of those. So,
and I do lots of IVR work.
Yes. The lady is the voice of 511 LA.
Wow.
When you dial 511,
I can tell you which freeways close down and when the next bus is coming.
Yes.
Take that, Siri.
I got the
411
on 511
on the 511.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And then
but I do North Carolina and Virginia, Florida, Wisconsin, Alaska. And several other.
There you go.
Yeah, Wisconsin. And several other smaller systems too. So.
And the fun part of this is that both of us work for my daughter.
His daughter is a client now.
My
Yeah.
daughter is getting to be a very large client of ours.
That's
She is a
fun.
wonderful lady who does not IVR, but e-learning stuff for the court systems all over the country. She teaches people how to stay away from drugs and alcohol and sexual abuse and things like that. And we narrate most of the programs
For the company that she works for.
Yeah, it's been quite interesting.
So that was an insight.
Well,
Yes,
and it-
that
definitely an
that
inside
was
job,
Definitely
yeah.
an
And
inside
see,
job.
with
But it was
experience,
cool.
you get inside jobs.
That's
it.
right.
That would make
Your
the
children will
holidays
hire you.
awkward
Yes,
if
it does.
Dad did not get that cake.
Yeah.
Moral of the
yeah.
story, have lots of children.
And the thing that was fun for us too is that when she said, "Oh, I have the perfect voices,"
Yeah,
we were
of
able to make
course.
her look
Yeah,
good too.
that's
so.
it.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
yeah.
you did,
I love
I'm
it.
sure.
Yes.
I love it.
And this very day, I finished a wonderful PowerPoint presentation for my younger daughter on why you should be a Girl Scout leader. So
Okay, there
that
you
gets
So
that
it's
gets
a-
shown
That
several
thing-
times
That
this
takes
summer.
the Girl Scout cookie right there.
go. I was saying, you get
But I
paid in
think-
Thin Mints.
I think, when most people think about, I want to work in voiceover, they're thinking about doing character animation and commercial.
They are.
Which are great.
Absolutely.
And they are
Yeah.
awesome.
Just ask my counterpart, Bill Rogers.
Yeah.
There's
That's right. There's
for
another
those
Bill
of you
Rogers.
who don't know,
Yes,
there's
there
a
is.
guy
That Bill
who's a voice of
Rogers, yeah.
anime in
Yeah,
New York
yeah,
who
yeah.
is just fabulous.
He is.
Yeah.
God, he's good.
Yeah.
And it's scary that there's two of us, one on either coast.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Well, there has
so-
to be 3,000 miles between you. You're both
That's
just
right.
huge
Yeah,
and
That's
but
true.
I don't care how much he's done. He doesn't get to do.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls.
That takes the cake, man. That is the
right.
coolest thing on planet Earth.
know.
Period.
Yeah.
That's
It
it.
is.
Elvis left the
Yeah.
building. What else is there? All those things.
Yeah.
Okay. What do the two of you? And think about this, because it can
Okay.
be personal and even business. But what do the two of you still wish to accomplish in your lives?
See, for me, it's like another 40 or 45 years or 50 years of,
Yeah.
of being married to this beautiful woman. And
that's
Yeah, we
gonna
hope for as much
that's,
time as
you know,
possible
Yeah.
together.
that's
So
it.
that
so
really
do
is.
too.
I mean, that's what we do is I'm constantly amazed by people who say they want to retire someday. I am having so
we're not
much
going to
fun.
retire.
I'm going to
The
slump
goal
over
is
the
to
microphone.
Just one day, just slump over the microphone. That's
Like,
it.
Bill?
Yeah.
Bill?
Yeah.
Are you
That's right.
Bill?
It was a great run.
Yeah, yeah. In the words of
Yeah.
Scott Rummell, it's been a great run.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen.
That's it. That's it.
That's right.
I mean, there is that fear. There really is that fear.
Yeah.
Because it happens to some people. They get to the point where they have done so much work that they literally cannot continue.
Yeah.
You know, and I
Maybe we'll slow down, but
Yeah.
I don't
Hope that never
think that
happens.
we'll ever
Yeah.
retire. We just
I don't think so either.
we're just not there.
Well, but when you're doing what you love, that's
Yeah.
just
Why do you
another
wanna stop
stamp
doing
of,
what you love? Exactly.
it's part of who you are.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
as
But I
long
think
as she'll
for-
have me.
Oh, always.
Which will be
Always.
always.
I love
I
it.
found the one I was looking for. Seriously.
So sweet.
But I think the main thing for us is that this show is really important to us, the television
Yes.
show that we're working
Yes.
on, because we feel like that's going to make a big difference
And it will.
to a lot of
Yeah.
people. And so
Absolutely.
that's a fun goal for us. We've been working on it for 3 years, and so if that can come to life and have a life of its own, even something that we could pass on to somebody else to continue
Yes.
on public television, we'd love to do that. So,
That's exactly
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Well,
but we
Yeah.
just hope to get up every day and sit in front of the mic and do some work.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, every time you guys have ever wanted anything in the past, you've gotten it. So you'll get this too, I'm sure.
We've worked hard for it
I
too.
know
And I
you
think
do.
it's going to
Yep.
make for another
Yep.
amazing story that we
Absolutely.
will
You guys are going
hear.
to come back and tell us all about it.
That's right.
I would just like to say that I'm totally in awe. This has been a great show for me. I mean,
Thank
I've
you.
got, my eyes got teary and watery many times. She almost full on cried out.
Verklempt right there, yeah.
because
I
of your
could have
story.
gone ugly cry, but I have a
But
strong
no, it's
will.
yes, it's the love and the heart and the warmth that the two of you possess,
Yes.
and just sharing and
Thanks, Joe.
giving. And we just thank you so much, Camille Dixon,
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for
Bill
having us.
Rogers. Thank you
Much
for being
happiness,
on the
abundance. We
Thank
love you guys.
We love
on
you
our show
too.
today.
Thank
You guys are freaking awesome, and we need to hang out some more.
All right, works for
We'll
us.
see you guys next time.
Hi, I'm Camille Dixon,
I'm Bill Rogers.
and we just got buzzed with Chuck and Stacy, and it was great.
It was amazing.
Well, I can honestly say that this is probably the only or one of the very few times that Stacy almost broke out into a full-out cry.
That I didn't hide it.
That she didn't hide it.
But you know what? I'm not ashamed of my
I know
feelings.
I got really super teary too when Bill was talking about his story of how he got into the business, and man, amazing things happen to amazing people. You guys are amazing, and we're going to be back next week with an all-new episode of VO Buzz Weekly, so stay tuned.
And keep up with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Pinterest at VO Buzz Weekly. We love you guys. We appreciate you so much. And just remember, you always have time for a little buzz.
Wow!